Right. All right, everybody. It's Miguel Trujillo, and I'm back with my evening chat, evening fireside chat. It's not so much a fireside chat as it is a moonlight chat, or a starlight chat, or a sunset chat, or even just the inner glowing chat, right? Because there is no fireplace around here except outside, except in the homes that I'm walking by. I see a beautiful moon. I don't know if you can see it. There it is. Full moon today, or very nearly full. I forget what day today is. I think it's like February 25th or something, 24th. It's getting time for me to pay my bills. I know that. So I guess I'll be doing that very shortly. Maybe today or tomorrow. Probably tomorrow or this weekend, really. I've got an interesting adventure coming up, and that relates to getting the virus vaccine, the coronavirus vaccine. I got my second dose today. Pretty excited about that. In fact, very excited about it. I am so very happy to be putting this whole coronavirus thing behind me and getting the newfound freedom that comes along with it, the ability to travel and move around, and I'll still be wearing a mask like everyone else, of course, but I'm definitely glad to be done with the worry and concern about the whole subject. And interestingly enough, I was just walking by some restaurants today. A lot of people were outdoors and indoors dining, and let me tell you, man, I can't believe they're doing that. It's kind of interesting how we're risk takers. Human beings are such risk takers. We've got astronauts that want to go to Mars, which is, at least these days, a one-way trip. And so it's pretty fascinating. That's a very high-risk endeavor, certainly resulting in certain death on that planet. But there are people who are lining up to be astronauts, and that's kind of a high-risk activity. A lot of interesting, even sports activities like boxing and surfing and roller skating. They're all high physical risk activities. These are activities that I generally don't participate in, partly because they're high risk, also because they're high skill, high skill activities. If you don't have the skill, then you get hurt pretty good. So I just haven't availed myself to learning those skill sets. So it's kind of interesting. In fact, there are people on both sides of the spectrum when it comes to physical risk. There are a lot of people willing to take it, a lot of people not willing to take it. It's kind of interesting. Oh, look at this. This is something new. It says, what does it say? It says, Maria and Lisa, March 11th, 2017. Oh, I wonder what that is. Maybe it relates to a couple's first meeting or something like that. Like a relationship anniversary. Wouldn't be surprised. Anyway, that's actually pretty romantic to put some kind of memento out in front of your house. So anyway, I was talking about risk and how risk adverse some people are, and how sort of risk immune other people are. Pretty fascinating stuff. And throughout the ages, it seemed generally that men are a little more willing to engage in physical risk than women. I don't know. This is just what I see in front of me. But of course, that's an overgeneralization. It's individuals can have certain proneness. Although I think of course, women have been barred from a lot of those endeavors for a long time, and so we're still feeling the effects, the repercussions of that kind of that kind of sort of exclusion from those activities. So I really can't say that. In fact, let me tell you something. There's something that doesn't, one thing that annoys me a lot in this world is when people make ideas and concepts, they draw up categories and divide them across gender lines. That bugs the heck out of me. You know, I remember the Battle of the Sexes way back in the 1970s, right? 1970s and 1980s, that was like this whole big deal. And this whole, everything's gender specific, right? Man, I'm totally into the current cultural norm where it doesn't matter whether, like say your eyeglasses that you're wearing is gender specific, male or female. It doesn't matter whether your shoes are gender specific, male or female. You know, this whole unisex idea of fragrance, perhaps. Maybe it's not the fragrance that you put on your body. I'm loving these unisex. There's unisex clothing like hats and glasses and gloves, and there's scarves, and there's I love this advent of just this whole unisex. I know there's probably a better way to think about it, or at least say it, but this whole gender neutrality, I want more of that. I want more of that. I'm done with the hang-ups that people have on calling things male and female and dividing things across gender lines. I have had it. I am just so done with the whole thing. I'm sorry. Human beings are basically the same in my eyes. So, anyway, I'm so glad that this cultural fixation on gender is beginning to wane. It's just not my cup of tea. And so I'm really glad. And you know what? Believe it or not, this whole gender focus is so arbitrary. This whole idea about what colors are women's colors and what colors are men's colors, like pink is for women and blue is for men. Oh man, it just turns my stomach a little bit. I don't know. Here's the thing. I'm just exaggerating a little bit because I'm trying to make a point. It just seems so arbitrary to me. And a whole this idea about genetic traits, personality traits being feminine or masculine. Oh man, I really don't like that stuff. It just seems so arbitrary. Rationality is naturally a masculine. It's a masculine personality trait. No, it's not. You know, some of the most rational people I know are women. And so, and then there's other ones like, I don't know, any personality trait you might associate with femininity. Sorry, I'm just not buying it. Anyway, so I'm really glad that we're sort of moving away from this gender divide. I'm so willing to put that into the trash bin of history. Yeah, people are people, and they have personality traits, and there's no male or female about it. Sorry. You know, there's nothing male or female about ADHD, nothing male or female about anxiety, nothing male or female about anger addiction, or male or female about anger addiction, nothing male or female about any of these personality traits, even sensitivity. No, nothing male or female about it. I'm sorry. And so, anyway, I just want to convey that. Sorry, I just got on my soapbox for a little while, which hopefully you weren't too annoyed by. But anyway, it's something that's, I guess, been on my mind a little bit here and there. Oh, but I wanted to talk a little bit. I'm going to turn around and talk a little bit about this whole COVID vaccine thing. I'll tell you, I'm so proud to be a part of the vast experiment on humanity with these experimental vaccines, particularly the mRNA vaccines. Wow, what an amazing idea, and I'm so excited and pumped to be a part of it. Now, of course, you know, who knows what the outcome will be 10, 20, 50 years from now, but Man, I think these mRNA vaccines are just, there's so much potential around them. I of course am a lover of technology. And I'm a lover of science, and the biological sciences in particular, and I'm so loving this. I mean, I was just thinking today what was happening in my arm. You know, we've got mRNA that is injected into my arm, embedded in these fat globules, and then those globules and actually that mRNA found its way into the nucleus, a few nucleuses in my cells, and then those my own cells are chugging away right now, producing spike proteins, coronavirus spike proteins, and they're churning out. My own internal cellular machinery is churning out all these coronavirus spike proteins, and then my immune system, who's got an earlier dose of this about a month ago, said, "Hey, we learned that these are not good," and I can already feel a little bit of inflammation in my near the shot area in my right arm. So I'm so excited. So already my immune system is saying, "Hey, wait up! What are we noticing? We're noticing some coronavirus spike proteins. We learned earlier that this was not part of the human body. We're going to start taking action." And indeed, my body will. And it's pretty exciting to just know, like, okay, at about 8 o'clock tonight, there's a very good chance that I might be feeling some malaise. There's about an 80% chance that I might be feeling some malaise relating to this. I might even have a fever, like 102-degree fever, or I might have muscle soreness, or I might have aches. I might get the chills. I'm like, oh man, I'm excited. I'm excited to feel these things, because I'm actually kind of wondering whether my own immune system how it will respond. Is my immune system a silent immune system that cranks along just easily and fun, and is it kind of a silent immune system, or is it like a noisy immune system? Am I getting geared up for 3 days of feeling like, feeling very poorly? So this is pretty exciting. I honestly don't know, and I'm curious about what my immune system's got in store with me. Oh, looks like we've got some kind of event going on over here, so I'm going to move on over to the side. Alright. We got some screaming. Oh, those are kids playing on the trampoline. Alright, that's fun. So anyway, pretty excited about the whole thing. And okay, so I was listening to the news today, and I had an amazing some knowledge dropping down on me relating to, and this is just a statistic. I think I got a statistic about the coronavirus vaccine and how nations across the world are responding to the need to get a vaccine for. Against these viruses. These viruses and the variations of the virus. And somebody told me, a statistic came across that like 60% of people in France are rejecting or don't care to get the coronavirus vaccine. 60%. And I was listening to an NPR radio program. And the NPR program spoke about how the French have a poor history with their government managing health crises. And so there's a lot of skepticism on their side about, to the degree to which they can trust the government as it relates to these health crises. And so I'm just thinking about how sad that is and how unfortunate. I'm really concerned. I'm really concerned about the French, and I certainly hope whatever programs the government is putting together are well received. And I hope that the French people find their way through this difficulty But oh, what a challenge. Now let me tell you, here's the thing. Being an advocate for technology and the biological sciences, I'm always interested in trying out new things. And the fact is, I am risk adverse. And, based on the information I have, it kind of makes sense to me about how the mRNA vaccine works. And I'm okay doing it based on the opinions of others. And of course, all the success that we've had recently. I mean, I was thinking about the Pfizer and Moderna mRNA vaccines, and right now they are registering effectivenesses of about 95 to 98% immunity against the coronavirus. And recently, the Johnson & Johnson vaccine came out with reports saying that their vaccine is 66% effective against the coronavirus. Now, I don't happen to recall immediately what technology the Johnson & Johnson vaccine uses, but wow, I'm just stunned by the difference in terms of like specificity and percent efficiency for immunity between the two technologies. That's just crazy. So anyway, now it's just amazing. I'm just so glad that even the Johnson & Johnson vaccine will be coming out. I get the flu shot every year. And the reason I get the flu shot every year for a lot of reasons. And mainly the fact is I just don't like being sick. And because I've been sick plenty of times, I've had the flu many times, I've had colds many times. I know they're different viruses. And I've also had pneumonia. I know the difference is there. And I've gotten vaccines against, I guess, all three of them now. Flu virus, corona cold virus, and influenza virus. And I guess there might even be bacterium reasons. I don't know if the vaccine works against bacteria, but the pneumonia, because it is the pneumococcus bacteria, is it not? That typically creates pneumonia. But anyway, I've gotten all three varieties of vaccine, and I'm so happy that I get those. I think people underestimate just how dangerous some of these viruses and bacteria are, and just how much they can knock you off your game. Now, very quickly you can lose big parts of your quality of life if you get hit by one of these viruses. And so I'm so glad about the technology that exists in these people and companies and communities that are helping out the world, and I'm loving that the world is coming together. And yeah, we've got all kinds of vaccines that are being developed now. We got the Russian Sputnik 5 vaccine, we've got the Chinese vaccine. I mean, we have just like a buffet table of vaccines right now that people can use to protect themselves against this coronavirus. And what a tragedy it is for some to sort of be so skeptical of their government or of technology. Look, I'm very aware of this. I've got people in my own family who are very skeptical, and and rightly so. I can see their side of it, And here's the thing: a lot of people are very skeptical of the health system because health systems over the last 50 years, even 100 years, have just been kind of reliable and kind of not working in a lot of ways, particularly as it relates to drugs, right? We've had the whole opioid crisis, and we're still going through lots of struggles related to our health system and how it's managing some of the crises that we've got going, like the obesity crisis and all kinds of other problems. And so, I get it. And, I'm not necessarily aiming to convince anybody one way or the other. You know, I recognize that everybody's got to make their own choices. Everybody makes their own choices based on, it's all, they're all, you're making, they're all choices based on probability, right? There are some people who respond very poorly to to vaccines, particularly those people who, have a lot of allergies, or specific kinds of allergies. And sometimes you don't know if you have these, say, weaknesses or related until, it's too late. Hey, I get it. I I know of a friend who's got, what is it? Guillain-Barré syndrome. Guillain-Barré syndrome. I'm afraid I'm sort of botching the name of that, but that's the syndrome that people get, and it can happen with vaccines or not vaccines. There are a lot of ways. Sometimes people just get it because of the virus that they've gotten. But Guillain-Barré, where the immune system somehow gets sensitized and to thinking that their own nerves, their nervous systems, particularly the endpoints of their nervous systems, of their nerves, need to be fought by the immune system. And there are some repercussions related to that. And hey, I get it. It happens. And then I know that there's some other people who are concerned about Bell's palsy, right? That nerve, that facial nerve that gets inflamed sometimes, just because they've heard some reports of Bell's palsy showing up in some people who've gotten the vaccine. Which, by the way, and I've heard from reliable sources, is at just about the frequency that it happens in the regular populations. And so that in populations that haven't got the vaccines, or just occur normally. So I'm recognizing the fact that it's not a really big deal. But yeah, there are a lot of people freaked out about Bell's palsy. My mom had Bell's palsy for a little while. And let me tell you something about that facial nerve. It heals in time. The inflammation goes away and the problem just vanishes and things return to normal. Ooh, I just spotted the Big Dipper. I love how the Big Dipper points to Polaris. Oh man. What an amazing thing to see that North Star. So exciting. So anyway, it's about 23 minutes past that I've been talking. 23 minutes that I've been talking. And let me tell you, I've been trying to talk slowly, but it's just too fun to talk fast. And it's such a natural thing for me to talk a little bit faster because, man, I'm really excited. I'm in such a good mood right now. My whole life is really turning out great. So happy to get to, really, I'm celebrating on the inside. Basically, I'm just relieved. I know I could still get corona if I make any false moves, but I'm just glad to know that I probably won't have to go to a hospital, be hospitalized as a result of getting corona, at least between now and the next 2 weeks. So I'm just super glad to be done with this, and I just want to thank everybody on the planet, for things could have been a lot worse than they were, and let me tell you, the United States losing 500,000 people in death to this coronavirus is such a tragedy. This is huge. This is a lesson that we are going to be thinking about and talking about easily for the next century. And it's so tragic, so completely tragic. Those 500,000 people were alive a year ago, and now they are dead. And I can't believe really the callousness of some people when, some consider that just that death. You know, they're all a lot of, I don't know, it's a lot of heartbreak. There's going to be a lot of healing. There's a lot of trauma being created right now. You know, I'm just thinking about how right now the number of dead has added up to the total dead, I guess, more than the total dead in World War I, World War II, and the Vietnam War. Or, do I have that correct? I mean, it just sounds phenomenal. And I'm just so sad by the whole thing. And here's it's even more sad. This number, $500,000, is a lowball number, which is the worst. I mean, I'm sure there's been plenty of people who died and have not been recorded. You know, I'm sure they died of complications and have just not been recorded in the... Oh, anyway, it's time for me to go. Anyway, talk to you later. Bye-bye.